Hello everyone, welcome to the Ichimoku.co daily stock market review for the trading day ending Monday, November 24th. Firstly, looking at the performance of the various indices, and here we see the outperformer, the Russell 2000, up 1.24%, the Nasdaq 100, the next best, up 0.78%, whilst the S&P 500 was up 0.29%, and the Dow Jones 30 was up only 0.04%. Moving first to the Ichimoku chart of the S&P 500, and here we see the trend continuing to the upside. The previous day's trading, we saw a window form as the market created a new high and a higher low on a white body candle, but a candle where the buyers had lost control throughout the trading day. We saw the market establishing a new major high at 2071, but only to be rejected from there, with the market closing around the midpoint level. The window that was opened up for that previous day's trading does suggest very strong support just below where the market's trading for that day, from roughly about the 2056 level down to about 2053, 2054. For today's trading, we saw the market unable to clear the major high that was established for the previous day's trading. Very small white body candle, very similar to the size of the previous white body, so the buyers have maintained an equivalent amount of momentum in the net terms between the open and the close as the previous day's trading. But the inability of the buyers to take out that previous high does suggest that they perhaps might not be strong enough to continue this trend to the upside. Now, having said that, however, momentum is with the buyers, and they have closed with control at the end of today's trading, so still suggesting that they are the stronger party. If the market does come off, once again looking to strong support at that window, and then also at the Tenkan Sen indicator, which trades at 2050, 2051. We do still have a bullish market in all three timeframes, trading above each of the Ichimoku indicators and supported by the Chica span. In terms of the bands with the S&P 500, and here we see continued solid bullish activity up above the upper band, highlighting the strong bullish bias in this market. We've seen the upper band previously hold a strong support, and that will be no different if the market does come off, trading at 2054, and it's just within that window that was opened up, and therefore strengthening the amount of support around that area. Now, just taking a quick look at the MACD histogram here, and the MACD histogram is a measure of momentum in the market, and here we see a divergence. It's a bearish divergence, and that's where the market on the line chart here continues to make new peaks, but the momentum oscillator fails to confirm those peaks. It's actually making lower peaks, and it does suggest that as the market is making these new highs, the internals of the market in terms of momentum are not as strong as they were on those previous peaks, and it does suggest that there is a possibility of this market coming off. Now, this really does highlight, however, how even though we can see this divergence here, and we see that the market is perhaps not internally as strong, we have to read what the market's telling us in terms of the short-term dynamics and the various trends, and the market still is trading up above each of the Ichimoku indicators, and we have no indication here, based on what the charts are telling us, that we are going to see a decent correction yet. But if the market continues in this manner, and then we do see some selling coming in, and perhaps the market closing in a bearish manner down below the Tenkan Sen indicator, it could signify that there has been a strong change in sentiment, but we're not seeing that at the moment. Moving next to the Dow 30, and similar type of trading activity for the Dow 30 when compared to the S&P 500 for the previous day. We saw the market extending up through the 17,735 level of resistance, establishing that trend in the first time frame with a high and a high low, but the rejection from the highs, establishing that major high at 17,894, the buyers failing to maintain control in the market, finding support at the Tenkan Sen indicator. Importantly, that's trading at 17,715 at the moment. Today's trading, a lot of that upside momentum in terms of the white body is dried up, and we see a very small body with a doji type candle. The inability of the market to take out the previous high, and the inability of the buyers to continue to make net progress, and their inability to close with control of the market for today's trading, with neither side closing with control, suggests a possibility of a change of trend, and that's a possibility. So we'll be looking for confirmation portion of it with a lower high and lower low. Now the problem with the sellers is that there is very strong support at 17,735 and just below at the Tenkan-sen trading at 17,715. Just bearing in mind that we do have a bullish market in all three time frames, and any pullback that we see is likely to be temporary at the moment whilst we're still trading significantly above that Tenkan-sen indicator. And just looking quickly at our bands here, and here we see continued activity up above the upper band with a bullish market in the medium term time frame, looking to the upper band at 17,752 to hold as strong support. And in terms of momentum, we see a similar indication here with the MACD histogram, with the market continually making new higher peaks on the line chart and the MACD histogram making lower peaks, suggesting that as the market is making those higher peaks, it's actually losing momentum and suggesting that all may not be healthy with the trend. But as with the previous market, we don't see any clear signs that there has been a strong change of sentiment in that fast term time frame. Next to the Nasdaq 100, and here we've seen the buyers come into the market quite solidly today. The previous day's trading, we had a candle that made a higher high and a higher low, but a black body candle, and it suggested there was potential for a change of trend. The sellers took control on that candle, but today we haven't seen the sellers continue with that control. We've seen the buyers take back control, and this does suggest that there's a possibility of the market continuing to trade to higher levels. Now, potential resistance at 4308, just above where the market's trading at. But if we do see the sellers come in and change the trend to the downside, strong support at the Tenkan-sen 4229. We do have a bullish market in all three time frames as the market's trading above the cloud, the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen indicator, and that's supported by the Chikou span. So it's suggesting that we still have a very strong buyers market here in all three time frames. Now, one thing to watch for here is that this is a potential Japanese candlestick reversal pattern. It's a potential tweezers top, and that's basically where we have the highs around these two candles close to the same level. With the buyers continuing with strong control in this market, I'm not too confident that we will see a reversal, and that reversal, if we do see it, will probably only be in the first time frame. We will be looking for confirmation, however, looking for a lower high and a lower low. So if we see that occur, we're likely to see the market find support down at the Tenkan-sen at 4229. And with our bands here, we continue to see price activity up above the upper band, suggesting we have a very strong bullish bias in the medium term time frame in this market, looking to strong support coming in at the upper band at 4236. And with the MACD histogram with the Nasdaq 100, we're seeing similar type of activity here, suggesting that perhaps the trend is not as healthy as it looks on the chart, but still no sign of any solid bearish sentiment in this market at the moment. And next to the Russell 2000, and here we've seen the market break out in a bullish manner up above the 1182 region. Very solid resistance close by, however, at the previous swing high around 1189, but it certainly does seem as though the buyers are attempting to build some momentum to breach that area as well. Very solid buying candle. The buyers in control for the whole day, opening up at the low and closing at the high, suggesting that the buyers are very strongly committed. And that follows the previous day's trading, where 1182 previously held as resistance. We saw strong rejection from there for the Tenkan-sen, and the area just around the 1167 region to hold as some strong support. And the buyers coming into the market solidly today continues to suggest that we have a strong bullish market in all three time frames. So we'll be watching this high very closely, roughly about the 1189 region. If we see the market breach there early in a strong bullish manner, we could see the market trading higher. And in terms of the bands here, slightly different than we've seen with the other markets. We saw the Russell 2000 trading within the bands, and it highlighted that that very strong bullish bias that we saw previously had ended. And then for the previous day's trading, the market opening outside of the bands and being rejected back to within the bands, and today a bullish breakout outside of the bands. So what we want to see is strong bullish follow through, and that certainly would entail the market taking out that previous swing high. So there is an opportunity here for the buyers now to continue this trend to the upside in a very strong manner, but a lot depends on this next candle. It will have to be a strong bullish candle. Looking next at some stocks, and Apple has been a very solid performer. In the top half we have the daily charts, in the bottom half the weekly charts, and we see the strong bullishness in all of these time frames on each of these charts. And the top left hand corner, a relative strength comparative trading outside of the band, suggesting very strong relative outperformance against the S&P 500. For today's candle, the buyers coming in solidly, buyers in control, showing strong commitment. Potential support at the Tenkan-sen at 114.07, bullish market in all three timeframes, and trading well up above the bands as well, highlighting the very strong uptrending price action in both the daily and the weekly charts. Moving next to Intel, and Intel is an interesting one. If we start down here with the weekly charts in the bottom left hand corner, we see the market trading above each of the Ichimoku indicators, giving us a strong bullish market in all three timeframes, a solid bullish candle. This second last candle on the chart is the week that has completed, and it's suggesting that the buyers are very strong in all three timeframes as well as the short-term dynamics. Looking to the bands here, we've seen a bullish breakout up above the bands. The bands had squeezed together, so we had the squeeze that we want, and there's a possibility of some continued strong uptrending price action as long as we have confirmation. So I want to see the next week with a very strong bullish candle, that strong bullish follow through, to confirm that we now have a new phase of strong bullish bias in that medium term time frame. To the daily charts, and here today we've seen a very small white body candle following a black body candle, and that suggests that momentum has shifted back to the buyers in net terms, still trading above each of the Ichimoku indicators. And looking at the relative performance here against the S&P, strongly outperforming for the past 3 or 4 trading days, and we see volatility ticking up, and that suggests that we certainly could see some strong follow through to the upside in terms of uptrending price action. On the daily charts on the bands, top right hand corner here, we see the market continuing to trade up above the upper band in a bullish manner, suggesting a very strong bullish bias. We saw the bullish breakout above the squeeze bands, the strong bullish follow through confirming, if the market does come off, looking to strong support at the top band around 35. Looking next to Yahoo, and Yahoo certainly hasn't been progressing as well as some of the other charts. And just firstly looking at the Ichimoku chart on the weekly chart here, with the current candle that has finished trading, we see a black spinning top type candle has formed, suggesting that there is potential for a change of trend. If we look at the previous 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, the market bounced off the support at the Kijun-sen indicator, with the buyers continuing with control for those past 4 weekly trading sessions. For today's this week's candle, as it's closed, we see indecision enter the market, and it does suggest potential for a change of trend. So we'll be looking for the market to form a lower high and lower low, so that the low of the current candle has finished is at the $50 level. So if that's taken out, we could see the market test down to potentially find support around the Tenkan-sen, roughly about 44.41. If we look at the market over the past couple of weeks, though, we're trading up above the upper band on the relative strength comparative chart to the S&P 500, and it does highlight that the Yahoo certainly does continue to outtrade and outperform the overall market. So we're still quite a strong market in relative terms, even though there is potential for the market to pull back, and that is only potential. That doesn't mean that just because we have a spinning top candle, a candle of indecision, it doesn't mean that we definitely will get that pullback. What we're looking for here is the market to form a new lower high and lower low to confirm that. If it doesn't, watch the high for the buyers to continue in the market and trade to the upside. And if we look at the bands here in the lower right hand corner, we see the market continuing to trade up above the upper band, highlighting the strength in the medium term time frame. We'll be looking to the upper band at 46.99 to provide very strong support if we do see the market come off. And with the daily charts, we see price activity for the past 4 days hugging the Tenkan-sen indicator, providing support. So that will be a very important area for Yahoo moving forward. It trades at 50.92, and if we see a bearish close down below there, it would potentially signify a strong change of sentiment. Also hugging the bands, the upper band, and suggesting that if that fails as support, we could see the market trading down to the middle of the bands at roughly 49. Next to Nike, NKE is the code, and here on the weekly charts we see very solid bullish price activity up above the Ichimoku indicators and above the bands here, highlighting the strength in this market. Very strong outperformance on the relative strength comparative. Volatility continuing to trend up strongly from a cyclical low, suggesting that we should see further upside. Support on the weekly chart at the upper band comes in at 92.91, and with the Tenkan indicator at 91.40. With the daily charts, we see the Tenkan continuing to hold as strong support for this market, and it will be an important area to watch this week. The Tenkan trades at 96.60 at the moment. And on the bands here, we see the market continuing to trade up above the upper band, suggesting a very strong second time frame uptrend in this market, a medium-term time frame uptrend, looking to the upper band at 96.72, very close to that 96.60 at the Tenkan to hold as strong support.